So we're going to start the meeting. We want to thank Snapon for being here doing this. And we got guys came all the way from Delaware. Some of the guys from Bristol didn't come, but we got guys from Delaware, which is a great thing. And thank Gerard and Chris. Gerard has a level floor. We want to thank Gerard, Chris, and the team here for putting this together. Want to announce that we've already got an okay from Gerard for next month's meeting, not next week, but next month's meeting. We're going to be doing Garage Guru. Gonna let us do it here. We're going to try and talk to Chris. Okay, I already did. We're going to try and get a Tesla and a hybrid car here. Garage Guru's coming in and doing EV cars, so that should be pretty interesting. Dave, do you want to say something?
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. I think that's working.
It's working.
Yeah, it is.
Hello, is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay. Thanks for everybody coming. This is a pretty cool thing we're going to do tonight. It's a cool piece of equipment. A lot of cars need this. We'll find out a lot more about that. The other thing Ron and I have been working on, how many of you guys want to do like a management course, a seminar, like one like just management? Everybody on board? Okay. We're going to try to put that together. That'll be great. And that's about all I have. You know, the other thing I heard this past week, I was in Texas. The economists were pretty sharp. And they says, don't worry. He said, we should be getting busier. Like we had a slow time like January into this month, the next couple of months. He said, June and July, the switch is going to be flipped in our industry. We're going to get pretty busy again. And he said, don't worry about the economy. He said, everything looks good. Everything's going up. We're not going to get into a recession. So we should be good going here on out the full year. So everything should be good in our businesses, you know, which is a good sign, which I was glad to hear that. That's all I have, Ron.
Thanks, Dave.
Makes me feel better.
So we have Team Snapon here, and we're going to let Tom Gebby's here with Snapon Diagnostics, and we'll turn it over to Dave, and Dave is going to introduce the rest of the team.
Cool.
You got a mic.
Yeah, so my name's Dave Cipoletti. Some of you guys have seen me before with Brad Tabolinski. We did a couple seminars here recently. We also have John Clark with us. So we represent the Snapon from the equipment side. All right. So what we have going on tonight is we brought the Tru-Point. We also brought the 3300. So you guys are at the seminars, got a little taste of what we went over. So we brought both pieces of equipment, so we can get hands-on with stuff and you guys can see it, touch it, feel it, play with it, smell it, understand what it's about. We can do some demonstrations here. The way this is going to work tonight, we're going to break up into groups of 3 or 4. All right. And then we're going to go over some of this. My whole purpose of getting in front of you guys isn't just to shove product down your throat, is to help educate you and get you to understand what's going on so that you can actually do this stuff. Does that make sense? All right. So what we're going to do is we have some service information. This is everybody's pet peeve. It seems to be everywhere I go. People, bless you. People don't want to read what they need to do to make things work, right? So we're going to go over how simple it is when you start getting into ADAS and things like that, how simple it is and how you can also upsell other items based on what is in the document, right? So we're going to show you what you need to look for in terms of in the service information so you don't waste a lot of time and get frustrated, okay? As well as how to use the scan tool that will be in here. And then we can get into the machine, which is going to take the time of 2.5 hours of setup down to mere minutes. And you're like, you're full of it. Well, we'll show you how that works and we'll set up a couple things. And then after we get through all this, you guys will, one group at a time, be able to come over, play with the machine, set some things up and do it for yourself. Make sense?
Well, this morning, the setup we did, how many calibrations did we do?
We did 4. We set up 4 targets in an hour and 10 minutes for a brand new user, right? So we did 4 different vehicles. One was a dual calibration. We did a camera and a radar, and then we did 3 other vehicles in an hour and 10 minutes. We did 4 cars. So if you're looking at $425 a pop, they made almost $2,000 in an hour and a half. Okay, and that's the setup we did at Masano's this morning. All right. So if you guys can break into groups of like 3 to 4 people here. Thank you. We'll pass these out to you guys. You guys can kind of work together here. All right, there you go. All right, so we have 2 of each. We have 2 Subarus, 2 Nissans, 2 Hondas, and 2 Hyundais out there in front of you guys, right? I took the liberty of highlighting the stuff for preconditioning to make it easy for you. Who has the Hyundai? You have a Hyundai? Can you please read what's highlighted for the preconditioning?
Put the vehicle on level ground. Take out heavy luggage from the vehicle's seats or trunk. Set all tires according to the specified pressure. Check wheel alignment. Check the front surface of the front radar is clean. And then you highlighted, check the last 2 digits of the lot number on the label at the rear side before installing the front radar.
Okay, so what he's doing is front radar, right? Front radar assembly on a Hyundai, which is Hyundai Kia, and that's unique to that car. What he's talking about is there's a lot number on the back of the radar. So you guys that maybe are getting work from body shops or whatever, and they want you to do this, you're gonna have to remove that bumper, or you're gonna have to fish with a mirror. You got to find some way to get the lot number off the back, because if you flip to the back in the scan tool portion of this, it tells you, how to do it. In the scanner, it also tells you in the variant coding section that you have to enter those 2 digits, right? We have to enter those 2 digits. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. It wants you in the scan tool to enter those digits, right? So think of it like when you put a new BCM or PCM in, you do the handshake to get it, you're rewriting the VIN. It's kind of similar to what you're doing here, right? You're telling that module, hey, look for this module so that we can begin talking and begin working. Does that make sense, guys? So there's little nuances to it, right? The rest of the stuff is pretty basic. Tire pressure, clean off the sensor. Seems pretty basic, right? Who has the Nissan? Who has the mic? Who has a Nissan? Yeah.
For road?
Can you please
don't
read?
need that.
Okay, read what's highlighted.
Four-wheel alignment must be performed before proceeding with radar alignment procedure. Always perform the radar alignment after removing and installing or replacing the distance sensor.
And then, and then there's some more stuff right here. We talk about some preconditioning as well, where you're looking at into here, and then these 5 items. Can you read those?
Adjust all tire pressures to the specified value. Empty the vehicle. Remove any luggage from passenger compartment, trunk room, etc. Shift the selector lever to P position and release the parking brake. Fully fill the fuel tank. Then check the coolant and oils are filled up to the correct level. Clean the distance sensor area of the front bumper grill.
So we're getting a lot of overlap, right? He said clean the sensor, set tire pressure, steering wheel straight ahead. Yours on the first page talked about alignment, right? Yep. Make sure the alignment's correct, right? So there you go, right there. It comes to you. If the alignment's out, you need to align it. It says right in the service information, right? So now you're upselling an alignment. And if you upsell an alignment, a lot of times, what else you upsell? Suspension components, right? There's other things that come with that, right? So it's generating revenue for you. You see what I'm saying? And it's really not that difficult. It's stuff that you would normally be doing anyway, right?
Why would I want a full tank of fuel? Anybody know?
Customer never does.
No. And it also, if you notice what he said, it said put the selector in park and release the parking brake. How many times have you guys read where you put the vehicle in neutral and set the parking brake, right? So there's certain things that if you don't do, the preconditioning's not right, it won't let you proceed. Okay, there are things that they're very simple, we just got to do it, right? Who has the Honda? Can you read that Honda?
Remove the radar cover. Clean also the surfaces to the millimeter wave radar. Remove the front license plate frame if equipped. If the radar cover is damaged or cracked, replace the cover and inspect the millimeter wave radar assembly and sub-assembly for any damaged before proceeding.
Perfect. On the first page, can you read, let me read this one here. Can you read that right there to the
If
group?
the vehicle you are aiming was involved in a collision, if you suspect the alignment is out of specification, you must perform a wheel alignment prior to aiming the millimeter wave radar.
Perfect. If you suspect, if it's been in a collision and you even suspect that the alignment's out, they want you to align it. That's how important they feel it is. Not that it is out. If you suspect it's out, do the alignment, right? That's what they're telling you to do, okay? So that's, again, these are things that when we talk about, you guys were at the other seminar, we talked about alignment, we talked about the critical measurements and why it all works together. Is it helping resonate, some of that stuff as we get together? It's really simple stuff, right? There's a lot of simple stuff here. Who has the Subaru? Can you please?
Perform the camera adjustment and inspection at curb weight without passengers. When the stereo camera or windshield glass has been removed or installed, always perform readjustment of the stereo camera. Preparations, headlights off, vehicles parked on a level surface. Inflate pressure of tires is correct. Vehicle does not have a load. The front wheels are directed to the straight ahead position when the steering wheel is set to the center position.
So pretty much straight across the board, right? Straight ahead steering wheel, no load in the vehicle, tire pressures are set, level surface, right? Pretty much all that stuff is similar for everybody, right? So it's not like it's super difficult stuff, right? It's pretty much basic stuff. On the second page there's something that's highlighted about the scan tool, which is unique to Subaru.
Select eyesight on select systems display by pressing the pre-collision brake off switch and lane departure warning off switch at the same time.
Yeah, so what happens there, and it says it on the next page for you, is if you go into your scan tool and you try to go to the eyesight to calibrate the cameras on that Subaru, you're not going to be able to unless you hold those two buttons as you're entering. You have to actually unlock that module, basically, to be able to access it to perform the adjustment. Okay, and you would never know that. You're in your scanner, you're going to eyesight, you're like, this thing, I can't get in there, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send it to the dealer. It doesn't work. The scanner's junk. Well, no, you didn't take this time to read the section that said you got to hold the buttons to access the module, right? So does everybody have a little bit of a better understanding now about the preconditioning of cars, right? With the service information in front of you, does everybody feel that they would be able to perform a calibration, being able to read what buttons to hit on the scanner and how to set up the car? Everybody except one group. There's one group that shouldn't. Who is it? It should be the Honda guys, right? Because you have very little preparation. I left the page out on purpose of what Honda says, just for the intent to show you that you have the first page and the third page. You're missing the second one, right? So while these other guys are talking about, no load in the car, and they're talking about full tanks of gas and X, Y, and Z. That's not in yours, and I did it on purpose because without that, if your tire light's on, you're not going to be able to do your calibration, right? It could lock you out, and you're not going to be able to do it, and you wouldn't know that, right? Because you're going to go off what you have. So it's important to know what you're looking for as well as the right information. Does that make sense, guys? Right? I didn't do it to be a prick. I'm sorry. You just happened to get it, All right. So you guys feel more confident now, right? Like it's not something to be scared of. It's just, hey, we just have to pull it and now we know what we're looking for. If we have a machine, which we're going to show you right now how this works. If you have the machine to set the targets, all you need is to know how the vehicle needs to be prepared and then what buttons to hit on the scanner, right? All right. So let's walk through this real quick.
Question. Say you're calibrating for a body shop,
Sure.
okay? They want you to calibrate your car. Shouldn't you check the alignment before you do anything?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I'm laughing.
So with this machine, it'll do an alignment check. I'm going to do a quick rolling compensation, 3 inches, 6 inches, 3 inches. So, a total of 12 inches of roll. And then it'll check that for me and it'll tell me if it's in or out, right? So I know if I can proceed or if I should make that phone call and say, hey, I need to go ahead and align this thing.
Well, not just if the alignment's out, this will do two things for us, okay? So structurally, we'll know about the vehicle, number one, tire diameter, and number two, if he has a bent vehicle, which is very critical for doing an ADAS calibration. Then it's going to also check for the alignment. So this unit here is particularly different than any other ADAS unit out in the market, where structurally it's going to let you know that you have a vehicle that you can calibrate. Because let's face it, if you have a bent vehicle, game over. You're not going to get it calibrated. How many guys do circumference measurement on a tire with a tape measure? One person. How many people are in the group? So again, if a tire circumference is out, okay, with this check, it will come up and let you know that, hey, wait a second, your tire circumference is out. Do you want to continue with the calibration? Both with tire circumference and let you know if you have a bent vehicle. It's an exclusive that we have in the marketplace that nobody else has. It's pretty awesome, as well as compensating for level floor. I talked a little bit too much. I'll let Dave continue. But here's where that's right. That's the printout that will give you the Tru-Point, and then the printouts will are up on the front table up there if you guys want to take one with you.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll just take my scanner and I will scan the barcode that's on the door here. And you guys can watch the screen. I'll try to do as much as I can here with showing you guys the screen. It's not going to pull. That's all right. It's not going to pull. I'll select it manually. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. It is. I know. That's all right. We'll reboot it real quick.
We'll have to cut this out.
That's fine. That's fine.
This is real life, guys.
Yeah.
This is not true. You know, a painted picture, this is real life. This is what the world gives us. The beauty part of it is the technology that we're using. I don't know if I said it, well, he's rebooting. I'll talk a little bit about the hardware that we're using. We took obsolescence out of both our alignment machines sitting over there and our Tru-Point calibration machine. What's obsolescence in all of our electronic equipment that we have in our shops that we can't do anything with? Anybody? That's the PC, the computer, right? So Windows, we took the obsolescence out of it. There is no PC. We're working with solid state, both with the Tru-Point and with our V3300 over there. Any questions anyone has before Dave continues?
Does this have to be calibrated every year?
That's a good question.
Software updates?
So we do have software updates that are there, and depending on what level you're at with the software, it will depend on what the price will be. I think our Platinum, I think, is $14.95 a year.
And
That covers everything?
Yeah, that would cover everything all the way up, including VAG, if I'm
no,
correct.
VAG is an extra $4.95 after that. If you want to get into the high-end Lamborghini, Porsche, Bentley, that kind of stuff, right? It'll do that. The updates get pushed to the machine. All you have to do is install them. So they'll get pushed, and there'll be a banner that says update available, and you would just do the installation.
So we could do it ourselves?
So both the alignment machine and the Tru-Point machine with the solid state hardware that we're using, it's all tied into the internet via Wi-Fi. So if there's any updates with Mother Snapon down in Conway, Arkansas, because that's where everything's manufactured at, as Dave said, it will automatically be pushed to your unit because it's hooked to the Wi-Fi. You don't have to wait for a service tech to come out once a year to do a calibration. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Throughout the year or two, guys, specs change with the manufacturers. I didn't realize until years ago when Snap-on bought Mitchell that the manufacturer could print a manual, on a vehicle with 25% of the information wrong. Isn't that what the estimate was, Ron? I forget. It was 20 or 25%, and then they could do rehashes to fix it. But that's the same thing with your information system. All that information will change. So if anything changes with the Tru-Point or the alignment machine through the year, again, you don't have to wait for a service tech to come out. That updated software will be pushed right to your system itself, as long as you have the current subscription.
And that's $1,500 a year?
Yeah.
So Jonathan, procedure has changed. Do they then send that information in?
Again, if you have a current subscription, it'll be automatically downloaded to you. Yep. Specs, if spec change throughout the year, and again, you have a current subscription, your specs, it will go out to the cloud and check for it and then automatically download when you click on it to do download. You don't have to wait for an independent service tech to come out when he's willing to come out when you got 5 vehicles backed up and he can't come out for another week. Tech support's real cool, especially with the Tru-Point situation here. Our alignment machines, we don't run into it very much, but our tech support people could see all these machines online and live. So when we set the machine up this morning in Reading, we called tech support to get the latest version of software and the latest spec revision on it. We had it uploaded and updated in the machine in less than 45 minutes.
All right, so we scanned the VIN. I got it. We scanned the VIN, and now it populated the vehicle with the information for us, right? So then we can just hit use vehicle. And now it's going to let me know what I can do to this car, right? It gives me different selections. Now, what's nice is, as you can see, this, some you may be able, you may not be able to. It gives me this little grayed out box here. That's what's known as the exclusion area. That's the area in which we cannot have objects that would interfere with the calibration, whether it's metal objects for the radar, whether it's
A 2-post lift.
yeah, or contrast objects, black, white, gray contrast objects for cameras, right? So it's telling me the generic we have is 3 meters by 4 meters, okay? If I hit front radar, I now go to 5.5 meters by 4 meters, right? So the Tru-Point at this stage, if I select I'm going to do the front radar, and then I go to the next step. As I go to place my targets, it's going to take the Tru-Point and put it at the edge of the exclusion area, right? So you need to make sure you have that much space in front of the car because it's kind of doing the work for you, the work that's in the service information to make sure you cleared the space. If you didn't clear it, when you're backing up, you're going to be running into stuff and it's going to be like, oh, well, shoot, I don't have enough room. So it kind of dummy proofs to an extent what you're doing. Does that make sense, guys?
Can
Kind
I
of
check
helps
some
you
of this
out.
out before I do calibration?
Sorry?
Can I check some of this out before I do calibration to make sure I have exclusion room?
Yeah, I mean, you have the dimensions. You can then
Can I
take
ID
your
the vehicle
measurements,
and
right?
check it before you even start working with it and do your homework?
So like in this scenario, if we were going to set blind spot, we wouldn't be able to set blind spot unless we moved the car forward, right? Because we don't have the side. And if I did move it forward, I could do the passenger side, not the driver's side, right? So I'd have to bring the car in, do one side, reposition it, do the other
How
potentially.
much room do you need for the blind spots?
It depends on the manufacturer. If we did like a Honda or a Kia, Hyundai, Acura, we just need to take the rear bumper off, and we just need to take a measurement, right? Because it's relative to gravity, relativity to center line.
So did you
right?
guys catch real quick what he said? To do that calibration, the rear bumper has to come off. So would you start that calibration before you took the bumper off? Or would you take the bumper off first? You guys get my point? Just a time savings on making money.
Yeah, that one's an angle measurement, so yeah, that's, you gotta just pull the bumper,
Yep.
center line, they have a special measuring thing,
Yeah.
and I forget, it's like 27 and a half degrees or something, it's gotta be on the rear bumper.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get
20
red,
on
green,
one
right
and 10
here.
on the
That's
other.
beauty part of it. There is no, it's all
So
electronic. You're gonna
this is how we take that measurement.
No, you do. I'm just saying, it's nice to know before you do the calibration, to have the bumper off first.
So what you'll do is you take the tip of the pointer target and you'll touch it on the four corners of the sensor, and the machine will take that reading and let you know, based on the 3D model that we draw, as we talked about before, it'll let you know what that angle is to center line and what that angle is to gravity, and then you can start to make your adjustment from there, right? So no more.
Doing that, just because we're talking about having,
Yes, sir.
what's your general margin of error for touching that on the four corners? You know, do you gotta be super precise, perpendicular?
Yeah, you have to be. It's only as good as the person using it, right? It's like
So
a.
there is variance in there.
Yeah, it's like any other tool in your shop. It's only as good as the hand that it's in, right? So you need to make sure that the way that I train people to do it is basically hold it at 90 degrees as best you can, touch the corner, and try to keep yourself consistent. The more consistent you are, the better off you'll be, right? Because there are guys that are like going crazy with it. It'll still read at different angles. That's not the problem. And it'll read to the tip. The problem is, what direction are you pointing the tip? You see what I'm saying? So the more consistent you are, the better the reading is going to be for you, right? Because if you're touching with the side instead of the very tip, you're going to get different reading every time. Does that make sense? You guys can understand? So a lot of the measurements we're taking, there's no plumb bob, no string, no tape measure. We're doing it with this.
All measurements electronically.
All right. So we'll go ahead and do a front radar here real quick. We're going to choose a Rado 1. And all of our targets are labeled, okay? What I'll do while we're going through this as well is I'll take one of these and I'll pass it around so you guys can see. These are made out of die bond, which they tell me is the same thing that trailer sides are made out of. So you guys can check those out. They're extremely durable, okay? And they're authorized by the OEMs to be able to use. So we print them, we get them authorized, and then we release them to the public, right? So we
These
know.
targets
that
aren't resized.
no.
But are they approved by the manufacturer? I'm just.
Yeah, so Rivian, we are approved for Rivian and Lucid and VinFast. We are actually the OEM supplier for them, right? And the other ones we have authorization for, okay? So they've basically blessed us the ability to say, yeah, this meets or exceeds our standards.
So like Honda of America or something like that?
Well, Honda uses Hunter. Yeah, so they went to them and said, can we use these? And they were like, yeah, you guys meet or exceed standards, you know, because Hunter is the one for Honda. They're the approved tool for Honda. Autel's the one for Chrysler. So they can't approve us and them when their dealers are forced to buy, right? Yeah. So that's a good question. So they authorize us to say, no, your targets meet our standards.
Just
Right?
like the Rotunda program with Ford. Rotunda forces the Ford manufacturers to buy an approved product with Rotunda. Is it the best product? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go ahead and hit next here. Now it wants me to put the Tru-Point into place. If I'm in the green, I'm within 1 millimeter of factory precision. Now I'm going to do my rolling compensation. There's two ways I can do it with this machine. You guys can watch the screen. I can watch the photo eyes right here, and I can do the same thing that you're seeing without having to see the screen. Again, I do not load the vehicle when I do the rolling compensation. I don't want to roll by the tire. I don't want any type of deflection. I also don't want a loaded suspension, right? I want to make sure that everything is settled and that I push and I pull.
So a little forward, a little back, and then we're gonna come back to center. A little bit different from rollback you might see with some of the other manufacturers, because again, our system, we're looking, okay, at both targets on the left side with one camera on one side, one camera on the other. We're not calculating numbers with 4 or 5 or 6 different cameras. We have one camera on the one side here, one camera on one side here, so we know where the center of the spindle is on this vehicle. Makes sense, because we don't do a calculation with our readings, it's live.
And now we have to know our preconditioning, right? Because that Nissan, we had to put the vehicle in park at this point, right? We'd want to put the vehicle in park and release the parking brake. Some of these manufacturers like Toyota, I would leave it in neutral and I would set the parking brake. Okay, so we just need to know what that preconditioning is, which is why we need those 4 or 5 steps that we highlighted so you guys know. All right?
Real quick, Dave,
Yes, sir.
because I was watching, but it looked like when you're rolling it, once all 4 lights flash on the head, that lets you know you're
Stop.
in the right spot.
Yeah, it tells you to stop, right? And then it told me to go backwards and then stop. Yeah, so
That's a good question. I mean, if you don't mind, I'll jump in. That's a
Sure.
roll movie. So if you guys can't see the screen and you're doing the roll back, that's a feature where the top arrow tells you to go forward. If you're looking at the camera, the bottom arrow tells you to go backwards. All 4 will tell you to stop. Same way when you're setting up your radar detectors and some of your calibration, you'll see the arrow on the camera to tell you, hey, go forward a little bit, or go to the left a little bit, or go to the right. So that's our VODI, your vehicle orientation direction indicator.
sure. And now you can watch when I do it with this, you can watch the same thing on the screen. They'll get little green check marks, and then we can see when you'll see all of them light up when I do this, right? And then it'll tell me what direction to move. So now what I want to do, so we found the center of the spindle. So our wheel clamps are self-centering, they find the center of the spindle, right? So imagine when we talked at the seminar, we draw this rectangle on a piece of paper. We have a 2D rectangle. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the tip of the pointer target and touch the contact patch where the tire meets the ground. I'm going to touch the contact patch, and that's going to draw that second rectangle. So I have 2 2D rectangles that when I connect the corners to, I have a 3D cube basically, right? So that's what we're going to do now is begin to model the vehicle.
This is going to make Gerard's floor level, okay?
Yeah. It's level.
I'll tell you what, the shop we were in this morning and Reading, they had all the concave drains. It was like, oh my gosh. But we got a level here, got the car level, and see, bada boom. But that floor definitely wasn't level.
It's right at the contact.
Yeah, so as we said, I'm gonna touch the contact patch where the tire meets the ground, right? And then I just roll it back into the pocket. Mm-hmm. I aim for about the middle back here and then pull it back, right? Because all we're trying to do is see the difference between the center of the spindle and the ground to then do that floor compensation, right? What I don't want to do is be out here. I want to be as close as possible to how that sits. Yeah, and then you just roll it back into the, right there, that's it, that's all you do. Yep, so that's all you're looking to do. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And like I said, all we're looking to do is find where that tire is meeting the ground so that we can draw that image and then we know what our slope is like. Does that make sense? This is what? Yeah. Yeah, this is how we're able to compensate for the floor because now we know how the vehicle is sitting in space relative to the machine, right?
Right, because I guess that's an important part, because while Gerard has a nice level floor, 99.9% of the other folks
Do not. They have floor drains. So it will compensate the height and of the target and potentially the yaw of the machine if we're doing a camera to adjust for that, right? It'll tell you. Yeah, so then it'll have us put in position.
That floor was nowhere level at all.
Gotcha.
All right. So then we go ahead, we'll hit next. Now, this is unique because we can pick what side of the vehicle we want to take the machine to, because we have to take the vehicle to one side of the machine or the other so it can tell us where to place these targets, right? So because we parked the vehicle further this way, we'll take the machine that way. Now, if I'm doing something where I put the car here, I can take the machine to this side, right? So you have some flexibility. You're not stuck. You can pick what side you want to go to, all right? So I'll try to do this so you guys can see it and I can kind of see what I got going on. All right. Let's see if I can. I have my distance on the left, and I have my position there in the center.
You guys can walk closer. You see the position thing he's working with? You got to see that little, it's like a little wingman in there. It's telling him to come back a little bit. It's going to get him exact. There's no plumb bob. There's no tape measure. It's like a little wingman going in, and he's going to turn green. And like Dave said, he could have picked the left side camera if he wanted to do that, but this side here, he picked the right side.
All right, so I'm pretty close there. I can rotate it like this. I'll lock my feet here. It's like, oh yeah, well, I'm not in green, right? So I can push down on my brake. And then I have this center turntable, like your alignment turntable, and I can just fine tune this in to where I want to be. And get it. And then boom, there we are. Right? For these guys, yeah. Perfectionist. All right. My camera beam height, it tells me to raise or lower. My camera beam, we're already in place. Now, as the screen tells me, place the tip of the pointer on the sensor at the center, right? On Hondas, it tells you to touch at the bottom of the sensor, right? Because on the Hondas, they want you to measure from the bottom if you're removing the radar cover. Right? Sometimes they'll tell you to go from the emblem on the Acuras or whatnot, right? So this is saying we're going to go from the sensor at the center. So if you guys can watch that and let me know when that turns green. I'm going to take the tip of my pointer target. I'm going to touch my sensor at the center because that's where we want to measure from, right? We're following OEM service info. Green? Screen change? Perfect. So now what we did was we just put another datum point in space, right? So we have our vehicle that we are modeling, 3D floor, center of the spindle, and now we just put a little dot telling it where that is, where that sensor is located on that image, all right? Now, we go into our instructions here. We need our stand, we need our Rado 1, and we need the triedral, or the little triangle with the point facing up. Right? You're doing your Hondas, you're gonna have your point facing down. It tells you that. It tells you which way to orientate your device. Okay? So it makes it a little bit easier. All right. And we're gonna have to turn it this way for this now. All right. Then I hit next. All right. I like to take my device, and there's always going to be a camera that's pointed directly in front of you, no matter what side you go to. If we would have pitched the machine to that side, that camera would be directly in front of the car. This one's in front of the car. You can see that I'm way out of position, right? It sees the target. I need to get to 3,000. I'm at 870, and I am just out of range, right? So I will take my stand, and I like to take 3 big steps right at the camera, and I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm just about there.
I was at some shop a couple years ago, and they had tape marks on a line from where they laid down the tape measure and had everything measured out. I'm like, well, how's that work for different vehicles when you pull it in? You just have to make sure you pull it in on the line at the right spot.
Now it wants me to adjust the height. Oh, I'm probably going to be out because I just moved it. Yeah. Let me get to the next step.
So far, looks easy.
Yeah. I just come up. Let me get that back in there. I'm blocking it.
In front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get her in.
So look how much he moved that to get that in. Was that a centimeter or a millimeter or 2 millimeters he moved it? It wasn't very much. So think about it. That car that was pulled up and they put that trihedral on that tape mark that was marked for the past 3 months for how many vehicles, you saw how minute he moved that.
Adjusted the height. We're in. It kicks me to the next. Move the frame out of view. Click next and move the Tru-Point frame out of view. Well, we are already at essentially 5.5 meters. So all I'd have to do is hit next, unlock my feet this way, and then I could just pull my frame out of the way. I go to the vehicle. I begin the calibration sequence with my service information for what buttons to hit, and boom, I'm ready to go. And that goes through. I can hit procedure completed. Home.
At this point, if somebody kicked that, the Tru-Point won't know.
It won't know. No. So you kind of need to make sure people aren't like, ha ha ha.
And like me wandering in front of it when you're doing your calibration, make sure the other tech going from bay to bay doesn't walk in front of it when you're doing it.
Now, if you wanted to do it again, you could just hit redo, and then you could just do it again, right? Oh, he moved it, that son of a gun. And I hit the button and I pull the machine back in place, and then I just reset my target, right? So we go done. And that took us 16 minutes and 59 seconds to do with all the hoopla going on around it. 16 minutes and 59 seconds. That will not be time stamped on the order, right? Or on the report. So you don't have to worry about that. That does not go on there. It is time and date stamped. It does give you the reports like they have printed out over here. You can put in customer information. So you can then enter the VIN, the license plate, the odometer, the guy who did it, the customer's information, name, address, all that kind of stuff, right? So you can search for it later. You can also have that record for when that customer tries to make it a comeback, right?
Hey guys, a real quick question, if you don't mind. So we walked through the calibration with the trihedral. Anybody have any questions with what?
Yeah, I have a question. Say something was out. How would you adjust it?
What do you mean? What would be out?
Say one of the cameras was out.
Well, this would be a radar, and if you placed it and then you hit it and it failed, then you would have a trouble code, and you'd go to the chart that says 124, and 124 would tell you, well, 124 means the axis beam is misaligned or whatever the case is, and then you have to go look at the sensor. Maybe the bracket's bent, right? Maybe it's loose. On the Hondas, they have those little rubber grommets. Maybe somebody didn't clip the sensor in all the way and it's hanging.
So
right?
Gerard asked a good question. What happens if it doesn't calibrate? So here's the question. What scan tool did we say you need to use with our Tru-Point calibration machine? Anybody here? Does anybody know what scan tool is used with our Tru-Point? So any scan tool, okay, could be used with our Tru-Point. The gentleman we set up this morning out in Reading, he's actually not going to use a scan tool. He bought one from a company that's going to bring an employee out. That's all he's going to do is use that scan tool, and it's going to be like a pass-through device through the ALDL connector through the internet. So again, you could use whatever scan tool you have. Some people have whatever, a manufacturer scan tool. It's not relying on a scan tool. So Gerard, to answer your question, you need to fix it, find out what the code is, use your trouble tree, whether it's a manufacturer scan tool you're using, or if you're using a pass-through device, because maybe it's a 2024 model. Who has a 2024 in their scan tool today?
I'm just curious, when would you use a scan tool? It looks like everything's being done.
That's why I stopped, because we were a little bit quick there at the end when he said that you get your scan tool and do the calibration and click complete. You would have, when at that screen, went with your scan tool to the vehicle, any scan tool to the ALDL connector, and went into that module to do the calibration. The Tru-Point doesn't connect to the ALDL connector.
So this just makes sure everything's aligned.
Correct, yes. This
Calibrate your scan.
any scan tool. It doesn't matter what scan tool it is. Yep. Do a lot of guys do reprogramming with a J-box in here? Show of hands, a J-box one, reprogramming. I know you do it. J-box? Good. Because if you're not doing modules and you're not doing a J-box, you are going to get into it down the road.
You can't
So again, the update for the Tru-Point, okay, is going to be the 1595. That's not updating your
Go
scan
ahead.
tool. Whatever scan tool you have is
Follow the
separate from what the
instructions.
Tru-Point
We're going
is.
to do a radar. Let's go. Just push it straight ahead. You got your distance on your left, your position in the center.
Oh, you got to get the videos you already do.
Okay. You're good.
Good.
You're green. Go ahead and wait a second. Go ahead and twist it a little bit now. Get it green. Other way. A little bit more. There you go. Now lock your feet. Just push down on the on button.
This one?
Yep. No. On the sides. Yeah, push down on those. Yep. Okay, now we need to go roll the car. What's wrong?
How do I know how much to roll it?
So, yeah. So all you're gonna do, what we can do, it's already in neutral, we're good. So all we're gonna do, you gotta make sure we're back here, Gerard, because we can't block the eyes, right? It'll come up yellow. So all we're gonna do is just push the car forward and see how that moves.
Yeah, gotcha.
Done. Hold it. Now we just pull back. Okay. Now forward. That's it. Now we'll go ahead and put our wheel chocks in. Awesome. All right. Now we just hit next on the screen. Okay, grab your pointer target from over here. Grab our pointer target. Now is where we go and touch the contact patch. Yep, you always start left front and work your way to right front.
I don't know if it's good.
Green check. See the screen? Yep. Now you just go back to the next one. There you go.
This just tells you, hey, it's straight. To proceed with your calibration through your scan.
It tells you everything is ready to go. Yeah, everything is good. Your alignment's good. Your steer head's
Like a
good.
machine that tells you it's good, everything's good, and it allows you to plug in, calibrate it all 7 times. You know what I mean?
They
Like-
do. The limitation at that point is the scan tool.
Right. I give you.
You see what I'm saying? They have machines out
This
there.
opens it up.
Right up here. Right, that big hole in the the big hole. It's right here. The big hole in the back just goes right on there. Yep.
It pretty much opens the horizon so that you can connect with any scan tool. I
Exactly.
get that, but
Because you have like your Teslas, you have to use a laptop, Rivian,
I don't even know if I got
Lucids.
any Snapon. I don't even know if my scanner's up to par for any of them.
Well, the machine will be able to do new cars. The scanner is your limitation. So if you have a factory software, you're good. You know what I'm saying? All right. This is where we need to move the machine back to the back there. So we need to go ahead and unlock our feet.
Release it here?
No, where you did that there's an off button. You can kick to the side, to the right of that. Just go ahead and kick, like right here. Yeah. All right. I'll grab the cord. All right. Your distance is left. Your position is in the center. Come straight back now. Come straight back. Come this way. There you go. Yeah, keep on coming. Okay. Oh, slow down. Forward a little bit. And then let's rotate it. Push your right hand. Push your right hand. Okay, go ahead and lock your feet.
Same one?
Yeah, you can do both. You can do both feet. All right, now you can push that center brake.
Yes?
Yeah. Yep, push it down. Now we can move. Hold, push and hold. Push and hold. Now, upset, hold it. Now we can go ahead and we can wiggle this right in. We can get it really nice, right like that. There you go. Let go. Oh, that's okay. Let's keep going over to your left a little bit. Now we'll just turn it in. Oh, let your foot go. There you go. All right, it'll tell us if we need to adjust our height. Give it a second. Okay. Our height is good. We could come up just a hair by pulling this brake and then just lift up a little bit. Okay, good. All right, now we need to go touch the sensor at the center. So, yeah, good. Flip that around. I want you to go touch the center of the Toyota emblem with the tip, and then make sure this is pointed at the, at the camera. Yep. There it is. Just hold it. See, it went green. Up, it went red. Hold it right there. It's green. Just hold it. There it is. You got it. All right. So now we need to go get our tool. Yeah, I'll put that back for you. So now we need our tool. Yeah. And now this is where it tells us how to orientate everything. Right? And now we just hit next. Yep. Now that's pointing up. That is that.
Okay.
And it's telling you to make sure the triangle is pointed up. Okay. Now hit next. Okay. Now let's go to the car.
And where's this go? To the front?
Yeah, we'll face this to the car. Face the triangle to the car. Yes, sir. Yep. Now you're just going to take 3 large steps and face this to that camera. See this target? Yep. Face that right to the center of that camera. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3. Set it down. All right. So we need to go forward a little bit more and then off to the right. Oh, too much. Forward a little bit. Keep going up. A little bit more. A little bit more. Oh, there you go. Back a little bit. Now what we can do, because you're right there, is I just come to the base here, and I just kind of just tweak it in just a little bit because it's easier to do from down here.
Yep. All right.
Okay, and now I just need to then raise this.
Where'd you see raise at?
See on that slider?
Okay.
It's telling me to bring this target up a little bit. So I bring it up and I tighten it down, just snug it.
Now, why is that a different reader from last time?
It depends on where you touched. If me and you touch in the same spot, it'll be the same. If me and you touch in a different spot, it'll be different.
Now it's gone.
Yeah, because I stood on the base and did that. That's okay. So remember, we're talking about millimeter precision, right? So if you're a millimeter or 2 off, it's going to want me to adjust that millimeter or 2 over here. We're green. We're green.
Okay.
Okay. So Kurt, this is where that screen will come up. It says click next, move the Tru-Point out of the field of view. So we would just click next, and now we just move the machine out of the way, and then go to the car, to whatever scan tool you want. Yeah. And then hit the button.
I didn't realize you weren't, I didn't know that you weren't connected to the OBD.
No, I wasn't. I wanted to let everybody play with this a little bit first and see how much time we have left.
I get it.
Yeah. And then procedure completed,
I like this
done.
too.
Now let's see how long it took you to do that, right? You've never done this before. You watched me do it the first time in 16 minutes, and it took you 9 minutes and 40 seconds. For an hour and a half worth of work, it took you 9 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah. Now, what about the putting the targets on? Are they going pretty easy?
For this?
No, those.
Oh yeah, come here. So, there's detents,
Yeah.
right? Then the different detents are for, you can go up to 39-inch tire, right?
Right.
So you'll enter all the detents because it's self-centering to be in the same location. So we just go ahead and we set this on at 12 o'clock. The fins touch the sidewall. Now go ahead and crank that down for me. Yeah, go ahead. Crank it down. Keep going. Don't stop. There you go. There you go. See how it ratchets?
Yeah.
You can't over-tighten it. Right? You can only go to that specified torque.
You can calibrate without using this, right?
Machine? Yeah.
Like you could just calibrate the cameras without checking it with this, right?
Yeah, you can.
But it's not going to be precise.
It just depends. If you do have a floor with less than 1 degree of floor slope, and do you have the targets that are,
So this just helps compensate for floors being out and everything like that, right?
and give you the documentation and help you with speed and accuracy, because normally it's going to take you about 2.5 hours to drop plumb bob, string, tape measure, tape, get everything into place, and then you need to make sure that the gradations of your targets are the specified, the exact sizes and contrast, because the cameras want to see the contrast. They're not looking for the shape, they're looking for the contrast between the two. Does that make sense? So this machine takes,
Calibrates the picture of the camera.
yeah, that's how it takes that into memory and says, oh, this is the difference between black and white. This is the difference between black and gray, right? So what you kind of want to do is you want to have something, right, like this that takes all the guesswork out of the measuring aspect with the floor slope, with the alignment, make sure you have all that documentation that you did the job. Yeah, Mr. Customer, I did everything to factory spec. I have the preconditioning of my car. This is how we set it up. We have the documentation that shows that the alignment was good, that the target was placed properly, you know what I mean? And then I have the pictures from my scanner saying that it completed. I have my readings, everything else. So now if anybody were to ever come back to you, you're like, here's the whole book. When it left my shop, it was in this condition. I used these targets that were authorized by the OEMs.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Like 1556, and you're at 1554, so you're like, all
When do you guys want to go?
things, and you're like, I need a millimeter. So
You
you're
good?
sitting here like pulling the unit to get the millimeter.
When do you guys want to go?
You can just go.
You want to use it?
I will watch it.
Yeah, like the pitch and roll is all like right.
You guys want to use it?
No.
No?
Yeah, we can maybe we'll start getting groups together.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
You guys want to hop on? Go ahead.
Those guys aren't showing.
They're not doing it. No, I agree. That'd be
I'm going to just get another group up here and we'll do a quick camera. Yeah. All right, you ready? All right, so let's pick this car again. We'll do a camera this time, all right? So it'll be a little less movement with the machine, a little bit more movement on the screen, all
Real
right?
quick, Dave is going over this with another group doing the calibration. The one thing I neglected
so
to
go ahead and
say,
pick front
I
camera.
talked about the PC where we took out the obsolescence with the PC.
Cook
With
the box.
electronics in the garage, what's
Okay,
the other
now,
biggest
we still have the
obsolescence
same
that's out
exclusionary,
there?
right?
I'll say it for you, it's the
We need
printer.
TYO
So there is no
303.
printer on the Tru-Point. We automatically print to the Altus Cloud. So you get a PDF electronically to the Altus Cloud that you can print or email to
Yeah,
a body
everything
shop,
that you
your
need
customer,
is labeled.
on your results.
It's
For
labeled
that
like this,
matter,
right?
if you're using a
That's the
Snap-on
that's the
scanner,
Toyota front
we
camera,
automatically
third
print
party.
your pre and
So
post
depending on
scan to
what
the
you
Altus
need.
Cloud. So both your
Yep,
pre
it's
and
over there
post
on the
scan will
chart,
be
and
all
it's
on the
gonna tell
Altus
you-
Cloud, and so will your Tru-Point printout as well. Make sense? Cool.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and hit next. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and lock our feet. Push on the on button to lock our feet. Push down on that on
We were
button.
just talking about that part of it. The compensation.
All right,
part
now
of
we
it
can
is
roll the
something we're
car.
talking about a little bit more, I think.
So we'll turn the screen around for you.
You gotta lock the boat.
You don't. Yeah, you're supposed to, so that it can't move.
And
Especially if you're on a floor that can.
19mm bolts.
All right. Yeah, so we'll pull the wheel chocks out here. All right. And now we're just going to give it a little push forward. Just watch the screen.
And that has your
Stop.
all pitch,
Now back.
all of your different
Just pull it back.
adjustments right on the screen. This one automatically compensates that up to 4 degrees, but then if you have a major adjustment, you can adjust the 19mm bolt.
Right there.
That's something you can talk about.
Now we're just gonna roll it
Well, you know
forward.
something? I'm probably going to let you talk about it and help me out. How's that? Because he's absolutely right.
Put my wheel chocks in, and then would then do whatever the vehicle needs, whether it's put the vehicle in park or set the parking brake or whatever the case is, right?
So your scan tool's going to tell you that. Yeah, so when you go into
No. No, the body doesn't affect it. It's just going to be if something's wrong in the suspension. Yeah.
Like a Honda, for example, it's going to be like, it's going to show you.
All right, so then we can just hit next.
Where you need to get your horizontal and your.
And you'll see it through the scan tool. You won't see it through the Tru-Point.
Yeah, that doesn't talk.
So we'll do a camera for this one, so you'll get to see a little bit something different.
Yeah.
All right, so now you need your pointer target
In it, yeah. The Autel.
right here. Remember, you'll touch the contact patch with the tip and then pull it into the pocket. Yeah, touch the contact patch. All right, yeah. Watch the screen. There it is, green check mark. Now go to the back. Yep.
Oh, why did it fail?
Yeah, he's good.
It's okay for this.
Yeah.
For that?
Yeah, we're not actually live doing a live
When
cal.
you're doing it, try to get closer to the tire. Don't be like Glenn.
Autel was easy to
Yeah,
set the
we're not. It's
Yeah,
not.
nah,
It's just for.
I like giving him a hard time too.
That's
Well,
fine.
and like we ran into sometimes it is easy just to drop a plumb
He's
bob and
actually
pull out 33
most
millimeter,
recent
you know,
tech we hired.
30 millimeters for a Toyota and say you're
Really
No matter
good.
what you put in front of him, he just hammers down.
not skipping the steps of
That's awesome.
alignment check or all those other things that we
All right, and there's our alignment reading. Everything is green, right? Everything's telling me that, hey, this is kind of what you were asking about earlier. It tells me there we're good to proceed. If something was out, it would come up red, and then ask us if we wanted to skip it, or if we could then stop, and then we could go do what we needed to do and then come back, right?
Can we skip some of it or not?
You can skip all of them. It's up to you. You can skip all of them. You shouldn't, because you're going to calibrate. It's going to be wrong. The machine will let you skip, and then at the end, it'll show your alignment failed. And then they're like, why'd you calibrate it if it was bad? Right? Now, you guys have an alignment machine, so, like, do it, right? Do it and charge for it. All right, hit next.
So it has to go through all those steps, and I'm sure you can hit next if you wanted to. So, or,
All right, now we need to move the machine to the side, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to move the machine. Oh, I'll just lift up on these. It's easy. Now I'll grab the cord, you grab the machine. The distance is on the left, the position is in the center. So we want to kind of come back and be over that headlight, right? Go to the left. Go to your left, your left. Okay, now you need to just go to your left. All right, your distance is now good. You got to come to the side. There you go. Back a little bit. Push forward. Give it a little push forward. Hey, oh. It's all right. Go ahead, lock your feet. Lock both feet. Now you can push on this center brake right here all the way down. Now you can move that and you can pull it. There you go. See? Now you can go ahead and turn it right into there you go. Let go. That'll be good. Okay, hit next. Camera beam height is good. Hit next.
So if you was down, you have to put in the middle, right?
Yeah, you would have to grab the brake and then raise it up. Hit next. Okay, now touch the farthest part of the vehicle's front along the center line. Now this is where preconditioning is important with the service info, because some manufacturers are going to tell you need to remove the license plate bracket.
Okay.
Right? So you have to know, like, can I leave the bracket on or do I take the bracket off? Now let's take the pointer target. In the same way you do with the floor, you're going to touch this on the furthest point of the vehicle along the center line, whatever sticks out the furthest, and show it to the camera. Okay? This will turn green when that happens. Whatever sticks out the furthest, so like this right here, right? So we'll take the tip and put it there. Now rotate your hand down because we need the camera to see this. Yeah, there it is. See how it went green? All right, so now we can hang this back up and we can move our machine into position. Yeah, just right up here. There's a big hole on the back of it. Yep, There you go. All right. Yo. All right, hold on a second. Yeah. We'll recenter this, unlock the feet. Go ahead. What'd you have?
Oh, yeah, we
Format.
were talking about how to do the 4 corners, have the targets, and how do you set a format?
Oh, the 360s?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's a big question.
Okay, let's get back in the center of the car, and there's our distance, right? So let's push the whole machine back. So we have what's called TGT05s, right? And you can see how the screen is shaped, and he has to put forward, sir. Forward. Forward, and in the center of the car. So you see how that outline is? So we have what's called a TGT05, and it's L-shaped bracket on the front corner and the rear corner like this of the floor mats. And that'll come up on the screen, and then you drag those into position. And our floor mats have a little line on them that tells you to line up with the center of the spindle to start with, and then it'll tell you direction from the car and forward or backward. So you'll place the front of the mat, then you'll place the rear of the mat. They're best to be done with 2 people, so somebody can be in the front and somebody can be in the back, because as you're moving the front, I can keep the rear straight. You can do it with 1 person. It's just not as easy because you kind of have to keep the mat scrunched up a little bit when you set the front and then pull the back. And it does the same thing, because you can really take that with your foot and you kind of just like tap that TGT05 and you can be like, and it's attached to the mat, like it's adhered to it. So there we have these clamps that go on, and then the TGT05 sits on and is held down magnetically, and it has like little like dowels kind of that hold it in, and then you can just. All right, so it wants us to pitch the machine, right? So what we can try to do, oh, did you already move it into place with the center brake?
Yeah, I push the brakes and that's it.
And move it in, and it's green? All right, so at this point, we need a 19 millimeter ratchet, 19 millimeter socket, and electric ratchet. You have and a small extension.
So you have to move it before.
We're gonna have to pitch the machine, right?
Okay, so make it.
Yeah, we just have to rotate the machine up a little bit to get that into position. So we'll spin this around. You the man. Thank you, sir. So now, what I do is I just come here. And then I can just roll this back. Oh.
So what are you doing there, Dave?
I am adjusting this to get it in. No. All right, let's get that back into position here. Let's get this back into position here. Oh my goodness. You got me all the way out there. All right, let's see what that does. Need to go more. I need to go the other way. I need to go the other way. Let me do this. Let me do this. I'm gonna set this up here for right now.
All right,
Appreciate it.
that's why I'm moving it a little bit.
Yeah, it's in now. What I want to do though is I want to try to do it from here and see if I can get. I want a little bit less play on that camera. I want a bit less. All right, next. I think I need to come that way. It's telling us we need to go this way. I need to raise my camera beam, so we'll try to do this so you can see. Yeah, that's all right. So a lot of times we talked about the preconditioning of the car, right? So we didn't do anything to this car. So this could be sitting inappropriately because my tire pressures are bad or whatever, and that's why the machine's wanting to compensate for that, right? So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm just gonna finagle a little bit here. No, you would have to, if we're gonna move the vehicle at this point, we'd have to redo the whole process over again. Yeah, so what I'm gonna try to do is get the machine, as I raise that camera beam, I'm also gonna get a little bit of sway, and as I move this all the way to the front, I'm gonna get a little bit of sway forward. So I'm hoping, it's just not enough. It's not enough. Yeah. It's just a little bit off.
Get one of them wheel chucks. Underneath this thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I'm green now. Just kind of hold it here. So I want you guys to see what the cameras look like. So now I'm in green and green, right? So now when I hit next, it'll tell me what I need to enter into the scan tool. Hit next. Now it's telling me I need to move number 2 to 390. So if you want to, let me do this. Let's go to this front side here. So now I want you to move number 2 out to 390. Go ahead. Slide this out to 390. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, stop. There you go. See, you're in green. Now look, it's telling you need to move 6 more millimeters away from the frame. So just give it just a little bit, right? Boom, you're in. And that's it. And then we hang our target, and the targets are key weighed, and they have arrows, so in case you forget, right? That goes up. We just put it on there, and we just hang it on. Hang it in place. I need to go that way a little bit. I'm in. Now I can just tighten down my thumb screws, and I'm ready for position 2, right? Position 2 is good. We'll go to position 3. Yeah, I did position 2. Now I'll go to position 3. Now we'll move number 3 out to 390. And you can watch that number change too as you slide it out there, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like you said,
Yeah, because you're going all the way out here.
You still have them, but if you watch it, it knows.
Oh, so you can see.
So it tells you where to set them.
Keep going. You're getting close. There you are. Boom. All right. And now we can take our target, and you can hang your target. Just give it a little tap into place. Go ahead. Yeah, just give it a little tap. Now we can snug everything down. When we go to our car, we tell it, hit the button for position 3, hit next. Oh, and we got everybody in front of the thing. So that's all right.
That's all right.
So,
You're gonna have to move it again, right?
yeah, so
That's okay.
you got, when you have everybody
Outside. I got
So when you're doing the calibrations, you don't want everybody here, right?
outside. That's all right.
Pretty easy, right?
Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty easy. Yep.
But yeah, either way, every system.
So when you first start, you should be in the middle, right?
Yeah, they want it in the middle. And my original setup, what I like to do is I like to just take my target when I go to start for my calibration. I know what target I'm going to use. I like to just go ahead and get that target kind of as centered as I can, right? Just to start. So that way my movements originally are not very big. Does that make sense? So that way, like when we started, you saw that I was already in spec for number one, and I just left it on there the whole time we did everything. Now I'm one step ahead, right? Oh, here we go. You got it all done. 16 minutes, 27 seconds. A 2.5 hour job. 2.5 hour job you did in 16 minutes.
Honorable will all tell 3 or 4 years ago that we watched today.
Got the laser.
3 years ago, there was somebody else the block.
Okay, guys, you're thinking for a minute.
Right here.
If you want to play with the machine a little bit, you're still here. If not, Dave's going to do a calibration, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to do the radar on this. I'll do a live cal for the radar on this and just show you how easy it is. With preconditioning the vehicle, we'll set the radar like you guys saw, then we'll go to the scan tool, we'll hit the button, and you'll see how long it actually takes to do a calibration start to finish. So I'll do the whole thing. You guys can see how long that takes and see how easy it is. That make sense?
We go with that?
If there's anybody who wants to play with the machine right now before we do that, let me know, because that'll be like the last thing we do. Anybody?
Just try and be quiet
You guys
so he
have
can
that
tell you
Zeus?
what he's doing, all right? Thank you.
There is there, that's the most up-to-date one.
All right, guys. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm actually connecting to the car while I do my setup to make it faster. Again, this is my car that I'm doing this on, not a live customer car. This is my car. So I'm going ahead and I'm connecting to the car because one of the longest parts of the process is the communication, right? Always. So as it's communicating, I am just going to go ahead and start my setup, my roll, all that kind of stuff. And the wireless is nice because I can see what I have. So now I'm there. I'm through the computer and I'm ready to go into that module. I'm going to go ahead and do my rolling comp. All right. I set my wheel chocks. Car is in neutral. I set my parking brake. All right. All right. Let that take its readings.
And why'd you set the parker brake this time, not last time?
Because I'm actually doing the calibration this time, right? Okay. So because I actually need to meet the preconditioning steps of the vehicle. Remaining? Boom. All right. Everything is green. On my alignment is passing, thrust angle, toe, camber. Off we go. Unlock my feet. Whoop. I grab my cord. Gonna set myself into position. Grab your own cord, you cheater.
What he used to show him right there, that, you know, it's doing it.
So it feels weird that he's coming back. He's very outside of the exclusionary zone.
All right, I'm in. I lock my feet.
Right on.
You like that? Well, the more you do it, the faster you get at it, right? I will adjust my camera beam height to get it into position.
We've done this more than once.
Yeah, today. All right. I will now touch the sensor at the center. Boom, done. Go to my next step.
Excuse me,
Yes, sir.
On that target, when you did the center, does it matter which way? Does it have
Nope.
to be up or sideways?
No.
Unless it's like a 90-degree?
I see what you're doing. You're trying to kill my time. I get it. So it doesn't matter because the way this target's orientated, it knows the direction of bottom. Yep. So it knows where the tip is because you can see the different orientations. So you can hold it any way you want as long as you're showing it to the camera. I get a little variance on that. All right. Going from here. 1, 2, 3. Time out. All right. We're almost there. All right. And
Speed up thing to 3 1/4 steps.
I did 3 1/4 that time.
No, that'll speed it up.
I'm in. Going to adjust down just there. I'm in. And boom. All right. I'm ready to then go to my scanner. I'm going to move my machine out of the way. I'm going to get out of the exclusion area here. We'll then go into my scanner. Let's see, you do pre-collision, see if it's in pre-collision on this. Nope. Front radar sensor. All right. Now this is where I need my service information because I need to know what modules to go into, right? I need to know what buttons to hit, right? So I'm in my front radar here, special functions on the Zeus, front beam axis adjust. It gives me the specifications. It says vehicle on a flat surface, no metal around the vehicle, tire pressures, no people in the car, vehicle is stopped, key on, engine off, continue. We're gonna perform it. I want everybody to listen because you'll hear an audible beep from the vehicle. Yeah, I'm using the triangle pyramid. All right, everybody ready? The beam has completed successfully. I can now exit this function and cycle the ignition. I'll go to my screen. Procedure complete. Boom, I'm done. I'll spin this over this way here. And let's see, how long did that take? 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Minus 35. There's 30-second variance from him, so it took 5 minutes, right? I cycle my key like it wants me to do. Oh, we won't do that far. Cycle the key, done. All right?
Wow, Dave, that was great.
Thanks, man. So does everybody see how easy it is, right? That's why I wanted to go over with service information in the very beginning, right? Because it's nothing that you have to be fearful of. It's nothing that you have to be worried about or intimidated by, right? You have the information. We preconditioned the car. The machine placed the target. We know what buttons to hit. You do it a handful of times, you're going to remember it, right? It's like anything else. How many times have you changed the oil? Do you have to go back and take a look at how to remove the drain plug or how to tighten the oil filter now? No, you know how to do it, right? So it's the same thing with this. Once you do these a handful of times, you're going to be in the same boat, right? 5 minutes. 9 minutes. Some of you guys were at the seminar with when Damien was there, telling how fast he was doing them. He was doing about 4 an hour. Wasn't stressing. That was getting the car, bringing it in, and doing it. You saw it live. Do you think you could do 4 of those in an hour? At an hour and a half a clip?
Well, Dave, you have to add 5 minutes and then you start.
So, what's the going price?
I'm not that slow.
What's the going price for this?
So it just depends on how you want to charge. Some guys are charging a flat fee. I got a guy over in Northern Virginia who does $425 for every module that he programs. I got guys that are doing shop rate at $165, and then they're doing it flat rate hours, and they're charging that way. Some people are just doing a flat fee for whatever it is. Like they'll say, okay, well, Subaru front eyesight's $800, period. You know, Hondas are $1,200, period. So it just depends on you, right? Because if you do look in your service information, there is no warranty time for this stuff. It's all straight time.
I don't know what the insurance company's paying in the industry.
Kurt, what are they paying?
It's regional.
Good question you asked, because you know something, I have something here for the insurance company. And what's the cheapest insurance company out there? I'm not going to try to pick on anybody, but I'll say it. I mean, I don't know. Body shop's telling me it's Geico. So here I have, okay, market pricing from Geico. This is a couple years old, so I'm sure the pricing went up a little bit since we've had our pandemic with the coronavirus. But they break it down to where you charge for a pre-scan, a post-scan, a setup for administration. So basically, when you start adding up the math, like Dave said, your dynamic calibrations are falling into be like the $400 range. And then your dynamic calibrations are going anywhere from that $600 range up to the $800 range. It seems like the Volkswagen Audis, your VAG, or more. Because Volkswagen Audi needs a little bit more time in calibration. Anyone see a Volkswagen Audi done with the calibration? Dave can elaborate on it a little bit more when he gets done talking, but there's a little bit more time involved in that. Bigger targets, and you need a bigger footprint area too than what we're working here.
All right, does anybody else have any questions? Oh, excellent. The 360 mats? No, we're staying pretty. All right. Yes, sir. So if we were going to do like a blind spot, we use this same thing, the same way you saw me set it up in the front, right? It's looking for this target now instead. So I come to the rear and then I watch the screen and I literally place it the way the screen tells me to, and then I adjust up or down. So, you know, there's no getting on the ground, no tape measures, no hanging plumb bobs. I'm not doing any of that. I'm actually measuring. I'm letting the machine use its algorithm, and it's going to tell me where to place, right? And if you're doing the mats, like 360 mats like Kurt brought up, if you're doing the long floor mats, we have these little L-shaped brackets that attach to the mat. It's a TGT05, and they go down on the ground, and they'll give you an outline of an L-shaped bracket, just like it gave us an outline of this on the screen. And you have the mat on the floor, and then you just move that bracket into place. And you move the front, you move the rear, you move the front, you move the rear, and it puts your mat the correct distance and space laterally and longitudinally from the vehicle. Okay? So everything is done through here, and then you get that printout, you get that report, because it knows where you actually placed everything. So everything is done. For other than when you see me get down, because I like to adjust the base, everything else is 98% of the time I'm on my feet, right? I'm not bending over, I'm not taking tape measures, I'm not getting down on the ground.
So all this stuff come with the machine?
Yeah.
Everything that you need?
Everything you see here, yeah. And then you can always upgrade into other stuff if you wanted to upgrade into the floor mats. Depends on what you're seeing, right? You can buy things individually, you can buy things. We have a deluxe package that comes with everything you see here. Right? And then you can add on additional things as you need.
And with this deluxe package here, I believe we're saying that it's doing what, 95% of all your
front camera, front radar, and blind spot
calibrations in the marketplace. So if you want to add 360 down the road, we're going to have an e-commerce site. You just buy those targets as you need it. Give you an idea, a rough idea, 360 targets, okay, are probably mid $2,000, $2,500. So Larry, you're a business guy. Let me ask you a question. If you have one Ford 360 calibration you have to do a year, are you going to spend $2,500 for targets? Good job. So again, you guys as shop owners and business people decide, okay, what's your marketplace? How many calibrations are you going to do to get on the e-commerce site? Because you have one Ford vehicle that came in for a 360 calibration. John, let's say you had something weird come in, you know what I'm saying? Would you invest $3,000 on a Target? You only had one vehicle to do a year? John's pretty frugal, and I've known him for a couple of days, so that's why I pointed at him. Any questions what Dave covered?
Does everybody have like a better understanding of how this works? Maybe like, what to look for service info, how quick it is to do, even with the scan tool. Does everybody have like a better concept of it now? Or is this, yeah, no, yeah?
I
Like-
see you have a lot of targets there. Does that cover the majority of the vehicles?
And that's what we just said. It covers
Yeah.
what, 95?
About 95% front camera, front radar, blind spot, you'll be able to do with what we brought.
Yep.
What's something like this cost?
For you, probably around $120,000 for a guy like you. For a guy like him, around $44,000.
44?
Yeah. And for
I'll tell you what, I'll throw the number out there for what Ron's been doing with your group, okay? I was talking with Brad, I was talking to Dave. We have a dynamite package today for you guys. It's our platinum package, is it for, I'll say the number out loud. You guys could, maybe I shouldn't, but talk to me individually. 32, I'll throw it out there, okay? For your show special with MAACA, normally it's like 36 they're doing, but you did one last week. Ron did one the other week before that. You guys are doing a hands-on here. And I believe he's talking to Dave about trying to throw something together in Lancaster. So we're trying to support him as well and support you guys. Is that okay? We did that? So you want to take advantage of it? We're going to hold the pricing probably until like the second week in April. I'll try to have my upper management allow that to hold your show special of what's going on. We also have a special going on with the alignment machine. We didn't do any hands-on with that, but guys, that's as quick and easy and accurate as what you're seeing with the Tru-Point calibration. I talked about the features, okay, where we took the obsolescence out with the computer. No more Windows. I'm going to say Bill Gates making money, maybe not a line in saying that, but there is no more boot up procedures with Windows 95, Windows 2000, XP, and all these updates we'd had through all the years. So again, obsolescence is out. Both these units print to the cloud, the Altus cloud, the alignment machine, and the Tru-Point calibration machine. What that means for you is you could electronically send these reports to body shops, your customers, and keep an electronic file. I was talking with, I forget who it was a little bit earlier, Dave Preston, I believe, to where some shops, AMCO, transmission specifically, I'm finding out that there's actually a form that they're getting the customer to sign when they get their transmission fixed and their cradle put back up when they don't want to pay for their $200 alignment and their $400 calibration on their ADAS that they decided not to calibrate their crash avoidance system. It's not on AMCO. So they're actually having a form for that. I was at another shop. It was, I don't want to say the name, but he was local over in Levittown. He's doing the same thing. He works with European vehicles. Manufacturer specs, okay, and the repair procedure, when you do a calibration, you perform an ADAS calibration. If his customers don't perform an ADAS calibration after they get an alignment, he has them sign this form that he's not responsible for it. His words to me and the words I'm reading in magazines and articles, I said it to Ron a little bit earlier, it's basically you guys have been working on your customer base for decades. Kenny's standing there. How many years you been in your business with your shop there? 48. So for over 4 decades, he's been working on family vehicles, not just mothers, fathers, but kids, grandkids, all the way down the line. You're handing keys, okay, to that mother that knows he's been taking the car to him to get fixed correctly for years. She has no idea that ADAS system needs to be calibrated. He does. So is he handing the keys to her to be a drunk driver because it's not calibrated correctly? Or who's going to be the drunk driver? You guys think about it. It's your shops. It's not mine. With that, I'll turn it over to Ron.
Thank you, John, Team Snapon, for being here tonight. Okay, thanks. Thanks for being here, guys. These are the kind of things we like to do. If you're not a member, we try to meet once a month at the Irish Rover. We're going to be back here. We're going to be at Irish Rover next week, so hopefully you're there. And if you're not a member, see us. We're here to try and sign you up as members. We need support for legislation and the other things that we do. So thank you.
All right, fellas.